Hey everyone, it's Jackie here at Long and Lean Pilates. I'll be taking you through about a 30-minute workout just focusing on core, glutes, and then a little bit of a release and restore format. So just a quick kind of burner for the two, and then giving you a little bit of a stretch to finish it out. So let's get started. We'll take it back onto your mat. Lying on your back, feet flat to the floor, arms down by the sides. And we're going to start with our pelvic tilts here. So as you inhale, we're going to release that low back off of the floor. Letting the pubic bone come forward, the hip bones lift up, and then as you exhale, scoop the belly in, press into your heels, feel the pubic bone tip towards the ceiling, and the core start to activate. And then repeat that. Inhale to tip forward, letting your two front hip bones come higher than the pubic bone. And then as you exhale, reversing that so your hip bones are now lower than your pubic bone. We'll take about two more here, moving with your breath. Not forcing it in either direction, just letting the movement be natural. Inhaling to release one more time. And then exhaling to imprint your spine into the floor. And then from here we're going to find neutral. So we're not tilting, not tucked. So you should have a small space in that low back. Ribs soften down. So we're starting to just draw some attention to your rib cage. And as you exhale, I want you to float that right leg up to tabletop, trying not to grip in the quads or the hips. Inhale, float the right leg down and switch. Exhale, draw the left leg to tabletop. Just alternating these marches here. Pressing down into your opposite foot. And then drawing the belly into the back as you lift the leg up. So you should feel like that leg is pretty weightless. Nice and light. Exhaling to float. And inhaling to lower. Let's take three more here. Exhale, lift. Just warming up the flexion at the hip. Starting to draw some attention between the connection to your breath and your abdominals. Last one, we're going to keep this left leg up in tabletop, maintain a neutral pelvis, and float the right leg up to meet it. From here, we're going to place the hands on tops of the thighs, pressing gently forward with the hands, and then pulling back with the thighs. So you should feel that core start to light up right away. Head will stay on the floor. As we start to take an inhale, reach your right arm and right leg in opposite directions. And then exhale to press back into that right side. And switch. Inhale to reach the left arm and left leg. And exhale to switch. So as you can see here, I've not imprinted my spine into the floor. If you are feeling any pressure in that lower back, you can place your hips up on an elevated surface, like a towel or a rolled up mat. Inhale to reach out. And exhale to press in. Let's take one more here on the left. And then we're going to start to take it into both arms, both legs at the same time. Inhaling, arms and legs out. Trying to hold for that cheek. And then exhale to press back in. The higher you go with the legs, the less you'll feel that pressure in the low back. So if you are feeling any of that in the lumbar spine, take it a little bit higher with the legs. The lower you go, the more we're challenging those abdominals, pressing your ribs into the floor, and trying to maintain the neutral pelvis. Let's take one more here. Exhale to press in. Now we're going to hold the press here. On your next exhale, curl the head, neck, and chest up until you're into that nice high chest lift, abdominal curl. And we're going to repeat that here, inhaling to reach up. And exhaling to press in. And repeat to the left. Inhale, reach. And exhale, press. Really trying to keep those shoulders lifted off the mat. Exhaling to curl. Inhaling to lengthen. For 4. And press. 3. And press. 2. One more here. If at any time you need to lower the head, neck, and shoulders down, take that option. We'll do double leg stretch here. Inhaling to reach. Exhale, press into the thighs. And again, inhale to reach. Exhale to press. We'll take 3 more here. Those abs should be feeling nice and warm here. One more step. Exhale, press your palms into your thighs. We're just going to take tiny little curls up right here, focusing on moving from that thoracic spine so we're not just nodding the head up and down, really crunching into the core, firing up the midsection, pressing your palms forward for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest the head, hug the knees into the chest. Give yourself a little rock side to side. Nice deep breath here. Second set, we're gonna go right into the curl right away, but this time we're gonna cross the hands over the thighs. So my right hand is on my left thigh, my left hand is on my right thigh. Take an inhale at the bottom. On your exhale, soften your ribs. Curl chin to chest, round up through the spine. Now as we take arm and leg in opposite directions, this time will be opposite arm and leg. So it's gonna be right arm, left leg, I'm gonna twist towards my bent knee as I do so. Exhaling to press back to center. And then switching, so now left arm, right leg, twist to the left. And exhale to press back in. So you're always rotating towards your bent knee, just like a bicycle or a crisscross twist here. Inhaling as you reach. Exhaling as you press and curl. Let's take this for 4. Exhale. 3. And curl. 2. Exhale. 1 more, open to the left. This time we're going to come back to the right. When we do so, we're going to place that right hand behind the head. Press into your right thigh and start to take tiny little curls up here, just like we did in that center exercise. Curling up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it back to center. Try to keep that head lifted and switch. Right leg extends, left hand behind the head. Little presses into your left thigh as you curl up and across. Make sure you're rotating. Keep that right shoulder lifted for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then hug the knees into the chest. Rock your hips side to side. Take a deep breath here. We'll extend the arms and the legs out nice and long. From here, we're going to take it into our roll-up series. So arms are long, legs are long. Let's flex the toes. Right away as you inhale, breathe into your back and then try to soften your ribs into the mat so you're not letting the chest puff up towards the sky. On your next exhale, arms will pass your face. Chin will curl towards the chest, rounding up to the spine. We're going to reach over those toes at the top. Pull the mid back in towards the wall behind you and slowly roll down. Shoulders are pressed back. Keeping those heels connected. Try to roll down nice and slow. We'll take 1 more here. Inhale as those arms come back overhead. Exhale as the arms reach forward. Scoop the belly in, chin to chest. Round the spine as much as you can. Reaching forward at the top, finding that little hamstring stretch. And then tucking the tail under. Shoulders plug into your back, rounding the spine to roll back down. Again, try to keep those heels connected. From here, we're going to keep those arms up over the chest, so we're not going to bring those arms back overhead. No flaying the arms forward with momentum. This time, we're going to stretch the toes, and we're going to take it into a half of a teaser. So we're just going to lift the right leg here. Inhale at the bottom. As you exhale, round up, reach that right leg up to your V-sit at the top modification. Bend the knee to your chest. And then same thing, slowly relying on your head and your right heel to hit the floor at the same time. So we're not lifting the leg and just uncurling the chest. And then we'll repeat that to the left. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale, rounding up, lifting that left leg again. Bend the knee if you need to. And then slowly roll back down. Scoop the belly in. And release. Let's take 1 more on each side. Inhale at the bottom. Plug the shoulders down. Exhale. Scoop the belly, round up. Sit up tall. And slowly unfold chest and leg at the same time. Reaching in opposite directions. 1 more time with that single leg. Exhale as you roll up. Scoop the ribs in. Lift the leg up nice and high. And then slowly round back down through the spine. And then if you haven't already guessed, we're going to take it into our full teaser. Again, modification can be to bend the knees as you lift, or just take it back to that regular roll up. Take an inhale at the bottom. As you exhale, start to peel your head up. Rounding through the spine, your legs will start to lift up at the top. Find that V-sit, nice tall spine. No slouching into the shoulders. Hold for a second and then slowly, nice and controlled, rolling back down. 1 vertebra at a time. This next one, we're going to take it and hold it at the top. Inhale here. Exhale. Scoop the belly, lift the legs as you roll up. Find that nice tall spine. And then we're all going to bend the knees here for some in and out. So we're going to take those legs out, arms open, and then exhale to close. Inhale and exhale. Inhale. Exhale. You can keep the arms forward if that helps. If you want to make it a little more challenging, bring those arms back behind the head, lower back down more, and then take it back up to that tuck at the top for 4. Again, these can be as big or as small as you like for 3, 2. Last one, hold for a balance. And then rest the feet down, open the knees wide, take a butterfly stretch. And reach your nose to your toes. Deep breath in, we'll roll up to seated. From here, we're gonna take it into a little bit of a plank series. We're gonna start on all 4s, just warming up that strength in the shoulders, that balance, that squareness to the floor. So starting in a quadruped, hands and knees. You can take it up onto fists if you have sensitivity in the wrists. And we'll start with some cat-cows here. As we inhale, arching, looking up to the sky, shoulders down, tailbone up. And exhale, scoop the belly in, rounding the spine. And repeat, inhale to arch, look up. Exhale, scoop the belly in, round the spine. And one more here, inhale, arch. Exhale to round the spine, scoop the belly in towards the ceiling. And then find a neutral spine. So just like those pelvic tilts, now we're gonna remain neutral. As you take your next inhale, we're gonna reach the right arm forward, left leg back. Finding that oppositional reach. Make sure that left hip didn't twist. Palm is facing in, energy through fingers and toes, and then lower down to switch. Left arm, right leg, reaching out long. Pelvis stays square to the floor. You guys know how much I love my coffee, so imagine that cup of coffee on your back. Try not to tip it or spill it as you switch arm and leg. For 3. Bracing the core, even though we're not in that plank yet, I want you to imagine you are. Scoop the belly in, 2. 1 more here. Lower hands and knees down. From here, we're going to start to warm up just like you're going to a plank, but not quite yet. Reach that right leg back, step onto the ball of the foot, and then back down. Reach that left leg back to the ball of the foot, and back down. Let's take 1 more single on each side. Keep a micro bend in those elbows. If you have to lock out the arms, bend them softly. Now we're going to double it up. So we're going to take it right leg back, left leg back, right knee down, left knee down, and we'll switch. Left leg, right leg, left, right. And now as I move my legs here, my hips don't change position. So I'm not lifting and lowering my butt up and down. I'm just moving my legs independently of the rest of my body. So if you took a still frame photo of my hips up, nothing would be blurry. Legs would. Abs are scooped in. Let's take 1 more on each side. Lengthening through each knee, 1 at a time. And then setting it down and switching last time. Out, out, in, and then we're going to take it back all the way. And we're just going to hold this plank here. Feet wider will make this easier. Scoop the abs in, lift the belly into the back. Make sure hips are in line with shoulders. We're not sinking down, and we're just holding here. Shoulders right over the wrists. Knees are lengthened, heels are pressing forward. Ribs are knit together. Again, micro bend those elbows if you tend to lock them out. And hold as long as you feel that you can. Making sure you're breathing, we're not losing that form. No dropping those hips. No piking them up. Everything is nice and tight. And then when you feel like you need to, we'll take the toes together, knees wide. Sit the hips back over the heels and take your child's pose. Roll the wrists out if you need to. And then roll it up. From here, we're going to get a little bit more into the sides of the body, so a little bit more oblique work. We're going to start back in all that quadruped all 4s position. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. We're going to tuck the toes under without straining the knees this time. We're going to take it into a hover. So we're just going to lift the knees a 1/2 inch off the floor and just hold it here. So just warming up that knee hover, scooping the belly in, trying to maintain that neutral pelvis. So again, we're not rounding, we're not arching. Everything is nice and neutral. Shoulders are pressed apart, arms are strong. And then you'll release the knees down when you feel like you need to. Next up, we're going to go into opposite hand and knee press. If it's too much, take out the hand and just do the knees, just like a mountain climber. So we're going to lift those knees, hover them off the floor. Once you find that stable base of support, try not to rock the hips. You're going to take right hand to left knee, tap them in center. Put that side down and switch. Left hand, right knee. Tap it in center again if you need to. Just take the knees across and set it back down. So you're trying to avoid rocking and twisting the hips. We're trying to keep everything flat. So again, that cup of coffee on the back. Keep it nice and stable. Let's take that for 4. Find that connection in center before you switch. For 2. And 1 more. And then take your child's pose again. This time flip the palms to face up. Shed out the shoulders. And round it up to the spine. We're going to come onto our right side. So your right elbow or your right hand, depending on any wrist sensitivity, I'm going to demonstrate on my forearm. If you want to go on the hand, that's fine. We're going to find a side plank here. Reaching that top arm to the sky. Hips and shoulders are square to the wall in front of you. We're going to start to hip dip here. Inhaling to drop the hip down. Exhaling to squeeze it back up. So finding that underside of the waist. Modify by putting one knee or one foot on the floor. Inhaling as you dip. Exhaling as you lift. For 4, 3, 2. Last one, we're going to keep those hips lifted. Find that waistline on your exhale. Thread the left arm under the right shoulder. And back to center. Exhale, thread under. Inhale, center. Let's take that for 3 more. Find that twist to the waistline. And 2. 1 more here. Exhale to thread. Inhale to reach, and then just gently rest that hip down. I'm going to swing my legs over to the other side to take that on the left. Again, I'll be demonstrating on my forearm. If you want to go up on that hand for a little bit more of a challenge, that's always an option. Stacking the feet is your hardest option. One in front of the other. Again, 1 foot or 1 knee can go down. For modification, reach that arm to the sky. On your inhale, dip the hip down. Exhale, squeeze the oblique to lift. Shoulder right over the elbow or the wrist. Inhaling to dip. Exhaling to bring that left side of the waist up away from the floor. For 3, 2. Last one, we're going to keep those hips lifted. On your exhale, thread the right arm under the left shoulder. Inhale, center. Exhale, thread. Inhale, center. For 3. And 2. Try to find a little deeper twist each time. Last one. And then rest the hip gently back down. We'll take it up to seated again. We'll take 1 more butterfly stretch, taking those feet together. Knees wide, grab those ankles. Press the knees open. Reach it forward. Now we're going to get a little bit into glute work here, guys. So I have some props here on the floor that you're welcome to use at home if you have them. You don't necessarily need to use them. I have an ankle weight and a Versa loop here. So if you have either of those, feel free to put them on. If you have the ankle weight, you can put that on right away. Versa loop will save for a little bit later. We're going to start lying on the right hand side. Elbow or hand can be your prop. I'm going to start on my elbow here. Extend those legs straight out underneath the hips and then extend that left hip forward. So making sure that left hip isn't sinking back. Pelvis is stacked. Prop your left hand into the floor for support and then lift that leg up to a hover, just about hip height. On your exhale, flex the foot, kick the leg forward. Try not to let the hip travel forward with the foot. And then inhale, point the toe, squeeze that leg back behind you. Exhale, flex, kick forward. Inhale, point, bring it back. So right away you should be feeling the side of that left hip, maybe a little bit into that left glute starting to fire. Exhaling to kick forward. Again, we're trying to eliminate any rocking or falling of the hips front to back. So making sure we're engaged to the obliques. We just did all of that oblique work in our planks. So try to keep them engaged here while you move that leg. Next one, we're going to kick that leg forward and hold it in front. So trying to see the sole of your foot in a mirror. flexing and pulsing up to the sky. Little tiny lift up here. Make sure, again, those hips are stacked here. That left hip didn't travel forward with that leg. Pulsing up for 8, 7, 6, 5. Pulling up out of the shoulder. 3, 2, 1. Point the toe, bring that leg behind you. Keep that pelvis stacked. And pulse it up with the leg slightly behind the hip. So mine looks about a foot or two behind the hip, so it's not super far back. Pulsing up, lifting to the right side. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to stay working with that same leg, coming onto all fours, getting a little bit more into the back of the leg. We'll extend that left leg straight back behind, point the toes. As you exhale, lift that leg up, and point and lower. Lift it up, and lower. Making sure nothing is changing about the back or the ribs as you lift and lower that leg, so we're not letting the low belly sway in the low back arch. If you want to add the foot, it can be a flex to lift and a point to lower for 5, 4, trying to maintain length through that left knee. 3, 2. Last one, we're going to hold it lifted and pulse it up with that foot flexed, heel towards the sky, hips square to the floor, abs are drawn in and up for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower that knee down. We're going to come back onto the right side. So we're going to burn out a whole left side and then the whole right side. Coming back onto the floor. If you wanted that Versa loop, you're welcome to put it on the thighs just above the knees for this next section. You can stay propped on the elbow, or you can always rest your head down on your shoulder. We're going to take it down into that stack position with the knees and the pelvis. Toes are going to stay together. We're going to rotate that left thigh up and lower back down, making sure, same thing we talked about before, that the hips are not rocking with the legs. So as that thigh turns out, we're not forcing the rotation by rocking the pelvis. Keeping the hips stacked, pressing that left hand into the ground for support, and just rotating the femur in the hip socket. So if you've got that Versa loop on, you should definitely be feeling it by now. Pressing into the resistance of the loop if you have it. If not, you're imagining that muscle that wraps around the side of your glute and hip like the stripes on a barber pole. So thinking of that wrapping from side to back sensation. We'll take this for 5, for 4, 3, 2, and then lastly, we're going to hold it up there. Make sure the pelvis is still stacked and just start to press the leg back a little tiny bit. Little baby pulses, not fully closing all the way. For 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower the knee down. Last set for the left side. That left side should be super fatigued by now. Coming onto your back, we'll lay flat. Left leg is the working leg, so we're going to cross the right ankle over the left thigh like we're doing a figure 4 stretch. Pressing that left foot flat into the floor, parallel, heel underneath your seat. As you exhale, lift the hips up, keeping the pelvis level, pressing that right knee open, and then inhaling to lower. Exhale, press and lift. Inhaling to lower down. Lifting with a flat back here, so we're not articulating through the spine necessarily for these bridges. Just focusing on that left glute, left hamstring. Maybe you're feeling a little bit of a stretch in that right side with the ankle crossed over. For 4, and 3, 2. Last one, we're going to hold those hips lifted. Make sure the pelvis is level so that right hip isn't sinking lower. And just start to pulse those hips up to the sky. Driving through your left heel. Feel that connection of your foot to the ground. Activating the hamstring, the glute. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower the hips down and then hug the knees into the chest. We're going to take a little break on that left side. Get right into the right side. So I'm going to roll it up to seated. We're going to take it around to the other side. If you've got the ankle weight on, switch the ankle weight to your right ankle. Take the Versa loop off if you've got it. And then we'll set up on that left side. Again, you can start on your elbow or laying on your side depending on what feels most comfortable to you. We're going to start with those straight leg kicks. Extend the legs down underneath you. Stack the pelvis again, so this time right hip on top of left, so we're not letting it roll forward or fall back. We're going to lift that leg to about hip height, pull up through that left side of the waist. On your exhale, flex the toes, kick the leg forward. Inhale, point and squeeze the leg back. Imagine the foot gliding across the top of a table. So making sure that the leg isn't dropping in height, so we're not swinging it down forward. and back. Keeping it the same height the whole time, keeping the pelvis nice and still, nice and stable. Exhaling as you flex. Inhaling as you stretch, making sure you're getting far enough back to feel the glutes start to engage. If you're stopping too short, you might not feel it. Press it back a little further, drive the hip forward, squeeze the glute, and flex. Let's take that for 3. Exhale forward for 2. And last one, we're gonna hold that leg to the front, flex the toes, try to see the sole of your foot in a mirror, and pulse it up. Press out of those shoulders. Lift the rib cage for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Point the toe, bring the leg back behind you. Make sure it's far enough to feel the glute engage and pulse it up right there. Exhaling as you lift for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stack the legs. We're going to come onto all fours, hands and knees. Again, drawing the belly in and up away from the floor. Hands right underneath those shoulders. Lengthen that right leg out. Starting to lift and lower that right leg, keeping length behind the knee. Again, if you have sensitive wrists, you can come up onto the fists here. We can add that foot flexing as you lift it up and pointing as you lower down, making sure nothing about the spine or the pelvis is changing. So we're not forcing the height by twisting the hips, keeping everything level to the floor. Just feeling that muscle where your glute and your hamstring connect start to engage here for 4 and 3 and 2. Last, we're going to hold it up with the foot flexed and pulse it to the sky, driving through that right glute. Just a little tiny squeeze for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower the knee. We're going to flip back over onto the left side. Again, you can be on your elbow or resting down on your arm. Head can be propped up. Stacking the knees, making sure those knees are slightly forward of the hips. Toes are going to stay together as you rotate that right thigh to the sky. And lower back down. If you have the Versa loop, and this is a point where you want to put it on, it goes just above the knees on both thighs. So you're finding a little bit extra resistance if you have that loop on. Again, making sure as you turn out that top thigh that right hip isn't rolling front to back. So your rotation is literally just your femur, your thigh bone corkscrewing in and out in your hip socket for 5, 4, and we're still pulling up out of the shoulders, out of the rib cage for 2. Last one, we're going to hold that right thigh turned down and take little tiny pulses up. Again, making sure that the hips are staying still. You're thinking of pressing that knee into the wall behind you for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower the right knee down. Last set here for those glutes. We're going to come onto your back. Again, your right side is your working side, so we're going to cross left ankle over right thigh. Turn it out like a figure 4. Keep the pelvis level. Drive into the right foot as you exhale. Lift the spine up as one unit and lower back down. Exhale, press and lift. Inhale to lower. Feel that connection of your foot to the floor, making sure we're not rolling out on either side of the foot. So you want to feel the ball of your big toe, the ball of your pinky toe, and the center of your heel connected to the earth. Pelvis is level, so as you lift the hips up, that left hip shouldn't be lower than the right. And we'll take that for 3, for 2. Last one, we're going to hold it at the top and take those little pulses to finish it out here. Firing into your right glute. So these are not just passively lifting. We're actively squeezing the right glute as we pulse for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then roll back down. Hug the knees into the chest. Take a little rock side to side. Arms and legs stretch out. Feel that length in both directions. We're going to reach long through fingers and toes. Just take a few deep breaths here. Start to bring your heart rate back down. Just letting the body start to release. Letting your shoulders melt away from your ears. Feeling that length in 2 directions. And then if you guys have anything at home that you can use, a rolled up towel, a belt is a perfect option. Or if you do have a yoga strap or a TheraBand, you can also use that. But we're going to go into our stretches that we would do in a reformer class here. So we're going to take whatever your prop is, again, a towel, a strap of some sort, a belt, a yoga strap, a Versa loop, a TheraBand. We're going to take it over the arch of the right foot. Left knee can be bent with your foot flat, or it can be extended out long. Just make sure that leg doesn't swing off to the side. We're going to take a bend in the right knee. And then as you exhale, straighten the right leg. Try to pull that leg back a little bit closer to you. And do that again. Inhale to bend. Exhale to lengthen. We'll do that for a third time. Bend the knee. Try to connect your thigh to your chest. And then just straighten behind the legs. Keep that leg as close to you as you can. Grab with the right hand. Carry your leg slightly open to the right. Opening up, just like your inner thigh stretch. If you want to open that left knee out to the side here, you can. Breathing into that inner thigh stretch, and then we'll take it across for the IT band stretch. We're going to bring the leg slightly over towards the left shoulder. Make sure your right hip stays on the floor, so you're grabbing with that opposite hand. Taking it just gently across the midline of the body, so not so far that that right hip comes off the ground. Think of anchoring that right hip down towards the wall that's underneath you. Breathing there. And then we'll come back to center, and we'll switch it to the other side, taking that left foot in whatever prop you're using. Again, left knee or right knee can stay bent, or it can elongate on the floor. We'll take a few bends and extends here, inhaling on the way in, and exhaling as you lengthen. Inhaling to bend, and make sure that right leg didn't swing off to the side. Bring it directly under the hip. And we'll do that one more time. Inhale to bend the knee. Try to connect your thigh to your chest, and then exhale to stretch. We'll carry that leg open to the left, just enough to get the inner thigh stretch. If you want to turn the right knee out here, you can. Pressing into that right thigh. And then if you have that right knee bent, bring it back straight underneath you. Grab with the opposite hand. Take that left leg slightly across towards the right shoulder. Again, that left hip shouldn't be lifted off the floor here, so try to press that left hip to the ground. Just a slight crossover here. Thinking of more of that diagonal stretch here. And then go ahead and release whatever prop you're using off to the side. And we'll take it into our figure four stretch. So we're going to cross that right ankle over the left thigh. And then thread the hands through that loop. And hug your knee into your chest, just rocking side to side here if you need to. Pressing that right thigh open. If you need a little deeper, you can grab the shin and pull that knee even closer to your chest. Use those arms to help you. Just breathe into that hip and glute stretch here. And then we'll switch it off to the other side. Left ankle across the right thigh. Again, you can grab the back of your thigh, or if you want to deepen it, grab the shin. Pull that leg a little closer to you, rock side to side. Just give your body whatever it's asking for. Make sure it feels good. If you feel something, release before you let go of the stretch. So if I'm moving too fast for you guys, of course, feel free to hold these stretches longer. When you do feel good, you release those feet flat to the floor. We're going to take those arms open to a T, palm space up to the sky. We'll cross the right thigh over the left. So not ankle here. Thigh all the way across, your knees are stacked. Let your knees fall to the right. Look open to that left shoulder. Letting the weight of your cross leg pull that left hip and left side of your low back into that stretch. Try to keep that left shoulder on the floor if you can. So if you're lifting and opening, maybe you pull that shoulder back a little bit further. And then use your exhale, use your core to come back to center. Switch the legs, cross the left thigh all the way over the right thigh. Let your knees fall to the left. Look open to that right shoulder. Try to keep that right shoulder on the floor. And then exhale, bring it back to center. From here, we're going to reach those arms and legs out long again. Feel that total body stretch in two directions. On your exhale, roll it back up just like we practiced at the beginning of class. We'll take those legs, flex the toes, knees stay straight. This time we're going to try to keep the spine lengthened. So if this is your stretch here, hold it here. If you can, keep your spine as straight as possible and reach forward. Try not to flex through the spine here. So I really want that nice lower hamstring or upper hamstring stretch here. So walk those sits bones back. Try to keep your spine lengthened instead of hunching and rounding. Reaching for flexed toes. Try to grab the outsides of those ankles, maybe the outsides of your calves here. And just breathing into those hamstrings, lengthening through those knees. And then rolling it up to seated. We're going to come onto all fours, hands and knees. We're going to take a couple of spine circles. So just like cat-cow when we arch and round, but we're going to combine all planes of motion here. So we're going to go side to side as well as up and down. So we're just going to make big circles with the crown of the head and the tailbone, as if you have a pencil on each end of your spine, drawing a giant circle on the wall in front of you and on the wall behind you. Should feel really good here. Let it be ooey gooey and kind of natural. And then reverse it a couple times in each direction. Rounding, left, arching to the right, and we'll take that again one more time. Getting all the cracks out. Let's come to neutral. Tuck the toes under. Push those hips up and back. Try to connect your heels to the floor. So if you usually take reformer, guys, this is just like elephants. You want to drop those ears between your arms. Start to pedal out, bending one knee at a time. Lengthening your spine. So again, we're trying to eliminate any rounding in the back. Nice straight spine. Pedal out a couple times, and then try to connect both heels to the ground if you can. If you need to, do a few heel raises up and down. See if you can get both heels to connect, and then we'll soft bend the knees. Walk the hands back to the toes. Keep those knees bent. Keep those feet parallel. Let your arms and your head hang heavy. Shake it out a few times. Drop the tailbone under towards the heels. Start to slowly roll up through your spine. One vertebra at a time. And then we're just going to take a neck stretch here, guys. So we're going to stand feet parallel right under those hips. Reach the arms down towards the floor. Energize through the fingertips. Press your shoulders down like you've got cinder blocks resting on your shoulders. And then just tilt your head to the right. As long as you're energizing down through that left shoulder, you should feel this stretch. But if you want to add that arm reaching across, you can give yourself a little extra tug. Turn the chin into the shoulder. Tuck it all the way into your chest. And then switch it out. Arms down, energize through the right shoulder. Tilt your head to the left. You can grab the side of your ear or not. Really press down to the opposite shoulder. And then rotate the chin into the chest. Drop it all the way down. And then we'll take it a couple times, hands behind the head. Interlace those fingers. Make sure those feet are still parallel right under those hips. As you exhale, pull the chin forward, chin to chest, rounding the cervical spine. And then inhale to extend up to the sky. Open the elbows. Do that again. Exhale, round. Inhale to open. And we'll take that one more time. Inhale, open the elbows wide, lift the chest up. And then exhale as you press those arms out and down. And that is it for today on YouTube, guys. I hope you enjoyed abs, glutes, and a little bit of release and restore. Come back and see us again soon. Thank you.